Hey crafters, this is Nye. So today what we are going to be doing, we are going to be assembling our off the mat layered Halloween witch. And so as you can see, I've got all of my pieces, they are cut out and she's off the camera here. So I'm gonna actually be shifting her up and down just to kind of bring the pieces that I'm going to be working on into view so you can see what I'm gluing and how I'm putting her together. I have all of my pieces here. They are cut out. I have stacked them all in the order that I want for gluing. Now, there were two other pieces that I have here off camera. These two pieces are going to be more for her backing. The one piece is the large piece. Hopefully this puts her all in the camera here. This one piece here is the full piece that is going to be her entire body and hat and everything. This is the one that I used on my 12 by 24 inch mat, and this used my 12 by 24 inch cardstock sheet. I'm going to put this one off to the side because we're going to use this one at the very end. And then I also have this black piece here that is kind of her arms and her torso. This piece I'm also going to save to the very end because I'm going to use those two pieces for her backing at the end. Okay, so I've got these two off camera, but everything else I have stacked and layered here for gluing. I have my tweezers that I'm going to be using today. Well, yes, I'm actually going to be using them. And then I also have my art glitter glue that I will be using for all of my gluing. And I have some double-sided scrapbooking tape here that I'm also going to use to kind of help me get some of the larger pieces for the back to stick together. I have my hot glue gun off camera that is heating up, and we will use that at the end as well, along with this twine to just kind of create a hook for hanging her. Hopefully the video won't get too long. All right. So, like I said, I've got all of the pieces here. They are stacked up and lined up together. I haven't glued anything yet, so we're going to be working on gluing all of her pieces here. So I'm going to get started here with her face, only because I have everything in the right order. And now that I do, I don't want to lose anything here on my table. And so I want to make sure that I've taken care of these pieces. And plus, when I get to some of the larger pieces, I might actually just speed up the video here. So I'm just doing the eyes. I'm just going to place them down. Sometimes I have to be quiet because I get focused on trying to make sure that I get everything in the right spot. Okay. So when you're gluing, you're just going to want to go around a little bit here. Hold the piece between your fingers. Use your fingers as a guide to help you to get everything into the right position. That's what I use my fingers. That's why a lot of times I will actually prefer to use my fingers over my tweezers. And then when you go to line up the eyes here, you do kind of want to make sure that you're getting it in the same eye line. All right, so this is her nose. And so again, just a little bit of glue. It goes a long way here. And then just line everything up and then glue it down. Okay. And then for her mouth, we're just going to work on these pieces first because, like I said, I don't want to lose them here on my table, especially because she's so much bigger that as I'm moving her around here, I could very well see that as I'm moving the sheets, one of them could just slip right off the top of my work table, right to the floor, and then I'd have a hard time trying to find it. All right. So for these little pieces to the ears, it's just a little bit of a detail to just kind of represent the inner part here of the ear. You don't have to use them if you don't want to, but it just adds a little bit something else so it's not just like this green blob to the ear off to the side. Just a little bit of a fun detail. Okay, so I'm going to shift it down just a little bit so that way you can hopefully see more of the hat, because I'm going to work on this part next. Only because, like I said, I don't want these pieces to get lost as I'm working here. I'm going to grab this one here and just kind of help me to line it up. And then just placing it down right there. Okay. And then just adding the glue to the back. And so this will be just a fun piece. Like if you wanted to hang it on the wall, in a window, it would just add something fun and different. Okay, so now I'm going to push everything up a little bit here. So hopefully, I'm trying to check my camera to make sure that you guys can see. I might not have moved enough things out of the way. So that way, let me grab this here. So that way, hopefully, oh, she's kind of shifting apart here. Okay, I'm trying to make sure I get the buckles in the camera. This is one where I'm like looking at the camera and trying to do two things at the same time. Normally I don't. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the buckles first, only because these are at the bottom here and then I can shift things back down. You do just kind of want to make sure that you're lining it up right on the edge. I know I'm off a little bit here, like it shifted when I was moving her up, but that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and add these buckles down, and that's good. Okay, so the next part that I'm going to work on is the cauldron space, only because, again, that's just another big piece. But all I'm going to do here for the cauldron is I'm just going to glue the cauldron pieces together, and then I'm going to lift that up and put it off to the side and come back to it at the end. So I'm going to put that hand there and just add this piece there. That was a lot of glue for that little section, but it's okay. And I'm going to put that one there. And now I'm going to glue these pieces down. So let's start with the white here. And just go around and add the glue everywhere, at least to the edges. And then you can just add a good bit in the center and then just place it down. And when you go to glue, just use your hands as the guide to make sure that you're getting everything in the right position. And then for this gray part, or the top here, I'm going to add the glue to the back of the gray, only because the wording is there and that's what's going to show through. And so I want to make sure that I don't have glue like seeping everywhere. And so with this one, with the wording, I'm just kind of going in and making sure that I get some of these pieces with the letters, only because I want to make sure that those pieces get glued and that they get pressed down to the paper. Ooh, for a second, I almost panicked. It was like they were all sticking together. Okay. And then again, just use your fingers to line everything up. Remember that when you're gluing, you've got about 5 seconds before the glue completely bonds, and then you're stuck. And then it's probably either you're going to have to leave it or you'll end up having to recut it. So I'm going to put that there only because I'm going to glue these parts of the hands down, because these are smaller pieces that I don't want to lose here on my table. And then I'm going to line it up right about there. So that way it looks like her hand is just coming right out of her dress here. And then she's gripping it in the front. So hopefully you can kind of see that visual there. And so let me do the other side. And then we should really be able to move forward here. All right, so I'm going to again kind of just push it back right about there. So you can see like she's gripping it like that. So her fingers go underneath. She's got the cauldron, her thumbs are on top. And so she's holding it there in her hand. All right. Okay, so I'm going to push this one off to the side. And so now we have her to work with. So let's go ahead and pick up some of these pieces here. So I've got these two with the dress, and then her hat and everything is here. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab this top part as well. I'm going to put it off to the side, and then this one here. Okay. So you've got the two pieces, and they do kind of come and meet right here. Now, when you go to do the two pieces, because we still have the backing that we're going to do at the end, which will help to kind of bring all of this together. But since we're starting this way, what we're going to do is, this is where we're going to take our tape. We're just going to cut a little bit, and then hopefully that wasn't too much. And then just place it down right on top right there. And then go ahead and lift up the top piece, okay? So this will be kind of like our way to begin to kind of piece it together there. And so I'm gonna start with her legs. So let me move her back up so you guys can see. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna add the glue to the back here of this black layer. And so I'm just gonna kind of go all around the edges. And then just a little bit here in the center. Well, I guess that's a lot. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna line everything up right on top of where this is. So I'm just allowing the top to meet right here. I'm gonna make sure that her shoes are also lining up. And then I'm pressing everything down so that way it meets. Okay, and so our tape here that we added, it's just helping to keep these two bottom pieces together as we begin to glue, and it's just adding a little bit extra support for us. So what I'm going to do now too is I'm going to, so I've got this one off to the side. I don't know if you guys could see it there in my camera. So this part's her hat, and then this is where we glued the face down. We're going to kind of do the same thing, okay? So I'm going to flip this part over. Let me bring this back down just a bit more. So hopefully she's back in my camera again. I'm spending a lot of time looking. This is the most I think I've looked at the camera while I'm making a video. Okay. And so we're again just going to go ahead and add the glue here to the back, right along the edges again, because we want to make sure that we get all the edges sealed down, and then just a good bit here in the center. And then we're going to press everything down. So the first thing that you want to line up is getting that bottom lined up with the bottom of the dress here. And so remember too that when you're gluing, you've got that 5 seconds. I'm trying to lift this piece up, the bottom piece up, so I can get my fingers behind there and making sure that everything's lining up, and then pressing it down. Okay, so that takes our two back layers here. So we've got the orange and the green as 2 layers, the black and the yellow as 2 layers. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our double-sided tape again one more time, and we're gonna go ahead and, hold on, gotta get it ripped. And then we're gonna line it up again right here across the edge. And again, take off that piece there. And now we're ready to take her dress and kind of go ahead and glue this down. And again, we're not going to glue her arms here, okay? Because that part is going to stay off, because we're going to glue it on the back side. But we're going to glue basically just the center part here. And so again, just kind of add your glue everywhere in the center. Remember, don't add glue to the arms. It won't be the end of the world if you do, but you'll just have to maybe go ahead and glue the back first before you're able to move on to the next section. Okay, and then when you go to, I'm going to grab this piece here and just move it so I can tilt her here just a little bit. So when you go to glue this part down, so I got quiet again. You see, this is what happens when I get really focused. And what you want to do is, again, just shift things over until you get her dress there glued. Okay, and then pressing it down. Let me just check the back. to make sure I didn't have any glue there, and that looks pretty good. Okay, and so there's that part. So just press it down in the center, especially right across where you know that it's meeting, and we've got that double-sided tape just to give it that extra firmness and that extra security there. Okay, and so now the black part of her dress was just the top layer here. Again, we're adding the glue everywhere along the edges. You do want to make sure that you're aware of where the holes are in her dress. Again, well, this time we do want to go ahead and add the glue to the arms because we've got this purple layer here at the back. And so we're just going to add it everywhere here. I'm going to go right here along the top in between the kind of like holes of the necklace here, or the pattern to the dress. I guess that's what I could call it. That was a lot of glue again to the back, but you know, it's okay. And then again, I'm going to shift this, and then I'm going to use my fingers to get everything in that right position. And so you probably see that I let go and everything kind of fell, but I'm still able to move things around because I haven't pressed anything down just yet there. Okay. And then once I'm ready, then I press everything down. Okay. If you have any glue that seeps through any of the holes, just go ahead, wipe it away with a paper towel, or you could use your pin to just kind of scrape it away. And then now let's do her hat. And so we've got the 3 layers to the hat here. There's a little bit of glue on that part. And so we're just going to work our way with all of these and just adding glue everywhere. And then I'm going to hold it here between my fingers just to help me get everything in the right position again. And that looks good. Same thing here with this orange layer. So the steps are kind of all basically the same. And it's really just a lot of gluing, but because this is a larger project, like it's off the mat, it just kind of becomes a little bit more tricky as you work. All right, and then this last top layer. And then we're just going to place this down, and then this will kind of really finish her off. And then we'll glue the cauldron down and then flip it over and do the back. Okay, so that looks good there. Okay, so let's add the cauldron, and then that finishes the front. So when you go to add the cauldron, how you line it up, I know it kind of might seem a little tricky, but you'll notice that these 2 holes here on the side, there's only half of the circle, and that's where you want the edge of the cauldron to go. And that will give you, so there we go. That will line it up for you. And you'll also see too that the top part lines up right there. If you're down like just a little bit, like you saw how I first was, you'll notice that this top part here doesn't line up. And that just means that you'll have to move it up just a little bit to make sure that it lines up. Okay, so go ahead, add the glue to the back of that as well. Make sure that you're getting all around the edges again, and then in the center. And then when you go to place it down, again, just line it up with those holes there. And then remember that you can shift it around if you need to, and then you'll be good. Okay. All right, so now we're ready to do the back side. Okay, so we'll flip her over, and again, take your scrapbooking tape now. And so we've got this part here. We want to make sure that, again, we're adding some more support because it's really important with this here. And then just kind of put your tape down right there, peel off that there. And so we've got our 2 top pieces. Now, you have a choice. If you don't want to use this one, you don't have to, because you'll have this one to add the support. But I'm always of the mindset that sometimes when you have more paper, it adds that extra support that you never know that you might need. All right, so what you want to do is, so this one's going to go this way. You need to check the orientation before you actually glue down. So this is this way. And so same thing, we're just adding the glue along the edges here. And then again in the center everywhere. And then we're going to place it down. And so take your time to make sure that you're getting everything lined up. And you might want to flip it too, just to be sure that you're not crazy off at least. And then press it down and make sure that you're getting, again, right in the center there. And then you can check from the front just to see. Okay. And then for your large piece, so if you didn't have 12 by 24 inch cardstock, then you're missing this part here. You could go ahead if you wanted to and just cut the orange and the yellow again in another black layer like this one here, just to give it that extra support, or you could just leave it. The choice will be yours here. So you can see that this piece here, it really covers everything. And so I'm going to leave it like this, and I'm going to kind of move things here just a little bit to make sure I have my room. I'm going to make sure that I've got that placement. And for this one, I'm going to tilt it and make sure that I'm keeping everything in that right position again. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it down. I'm just making sure that I've got her shoes because my hands probably went right out of the camera there. And I'm going to hold my hand on it to place it, to hold it and keep it in place. I'm going to lift this part up, kind of use my finger to keep this part, and then I'm going to add the glue directly to this. And so what I'm doing is, because this is such a larger piece, I don't want to risk it by adding the glue to the black piece that I'm holding here. And I want to make sure that I kind of maintain the position. And then I'm pressing this part down. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to flip it again this way. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the glue again here. And so this will just kind of help to keep everything in the right position here. So I'm getting glue on my table as I'm going because I'm trying to hustle because I suspect this video is probably getting a little long. Okay. And then I'm going to place it down. And if you need to, kind of pick it up and make sure that you're getting it in the right position there. Okay. And if you need to, just flip it over. And the great thing is that because we're using so much black, if it gets off just a little bit, you probably won't be able to tell too much. Okay. All right. So now we're ready to add the backing. I've got glue here on my table. Okay. So I'm going to cut a little piece here of my twine. You have a choice. What you want to do is, there's two ways that you can do it. You can go ahead and just add like the glue or the twine straight across like this. And then with a little bit of leeway, it would just give like that. Or if you wanted to add it where you would have more of a hook, you could do that as well. What I want to recommend is that you don't try to add it where it's at different angles, because what might happen, the ends, when you go to glue them, what might happen is that when it goes and you go to hang it, it might actually end up a little bit more offside. So you want to either keep it in a straight line or just add a little tiny loop here, but make sure that the ends still meet. So this piece is actually a little bit longer than what I really need. I'm going to go ahead and do this one. And I'm going to do mine in a straight line because sometimes when I like to hang things, I don't always like to see the hook at the back. And what I'm going to do is just going to go ahead. I've got my hot glue gun right here. I'm going to go ahead and add this right here. I'm going to place this right in the center. Give that a minute. And then I'm just going to use my hand to add the glue right on top. Then I'm going to go ahead and do it again. I'm going to go straight across. I'm going to add just a little bit of a hook right here. And kind of go straight across like that. I'm going to cut this one down. Let's actually, I'm going to go maybe right about there. And that'll do it. And then I'm going to cut this part. Add a little bit of the glue right there. Stick this right in the center. Give it a minute to cool, or maybe just a couple seconds to cool, and then I'm going to take my finger and put it right on top. This is how we burn all of our fingers. So this is how I burn off all of my fingerprints here, because I go ahead and I touch the hot glue. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more just to kind of seal it up there. Okay, and so this will finish it once you add your glue. Thank you so much for watching the video. Hopefully it didn't get too long. Be sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and I hope that you enjoy having her as part of your decor. Oh, all right. So thanks for watching. Happy crafting.